also died. Now, at the resurrection, whose wife will that woman be? For all 7 have been married to her. Jesus said to them, the children of this age marry and remarry, but those who are deemed worthy to attain to the coming age and to the resurrection of the dead neither marry nor are given in marriage. They can no longer die, for they are like angels, and they are the children of God, because they are the ones who will rise. That the dead will rise, even Moses made known in the passage about the bush, when he called out, Lord, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. And he is not God of the dead, but of the living. For to him all are alive. Some of you may say that that's a very strange passage to read for a funeral sermon. But bear with me, because I believe that you'll see that there's a reason that I chose this particular reading today. In Luke's 20th chapter that we read today, is getting very close to the end of this chapter, of this gospel. Luke's gospel only has 24 chapters. And if you're familiar with Luke, Luke is about a series of stories about how Jesus is making his way to Jerusalem. And he recounts stories about people that he encounters and things that he encounters on his way to Jerusalem. In the 20th chapter that we read today, Jesus has already reached Jerusalem. In fact, this is the last week of his earthly life. And when he's in Jerusalem, he is met by the always antagonistic Sadducees who say to him, Teacher, a man marries and dies childless. And his brother marries her and he dies and she is childless. There are a total of 7 brothers, until finally all 7 marry her, and they all die childless. And finally the woman dies. So teacher, in the resurrection, whose wife would this woman be? As I understand it, in the earliest Jewish tradition, the Jewish Hebrew people did not believe in the resurrection of the body. For them, when someone died, they went to a shadowy place called Sheol. It was neither good, it was neither bad, it was just a place that they went. Because to them, God was a God of the living. He wasn't a God of the dead. But as time evolved, they began to rethink this. And they began to think that, well, if Yahweh, God, has made a covenant to us, and that covenant is that we will be his people, and that he will always be our God, and if a covenant is a promise that can't be broken, then wouldn't God also continue to be with us even after death? So this is the type of thinking we begin, and theology we begin to see toward the end of the Old Testament. In Jewish tradition, if a man marries a wife, and he dies, and she's childless, it is the responsibility of the next oldest brother to marry the widow.